So when we talk about this thing, because we have to understand, because this topic is going to be very much important for analyzing and deep research about something which is still a conservative approach in India. Because whenever we talk about astrology, we always talk about Desh Kalpatra because it actually gives a lot of impact, because the situations and the upbringing which plays a very important role in everyone's life. Because if anyone born on London, on America, so their life approach is totally different from ours, right? So today's we got this topic between these two compatible charts. See, so we have to understand why I am saying conservative approach towards this. See, we already touch 140 crore plus population, and still in India is, when you talk about the physical intimacy in relationship, when in husband and wife case, so it actually plays a very pivotal role, and it's actually very important thing, because this is something that's, connect them and give them the attraction and affection which needed in any relationship, especially husband and wife. But in India, a lot of things which is, people are not that much they do not have that kind of literacy in this only segment. But the fact which makes me very flabbergasted, or sometimes you also, that we already crossed 140 crores. So that's very strange thing. So just look at, when we go through this both the compatible charts, so we will understand how physical intimacy will create ruckus, or will create, or is creating chaos in a healthy relationship that leads to separation also. Okay, so which is very important thing. If you are someone who is very much conservative approach, so I just give you one guidance: be more liberal towards your education, and this is something which is a natural process, not is something that to be hated, because hateism doesn't go and like that only. Okay, so whenever we talk about the physical intimacy, it's always very important in relationship. Now we go through, especially, when we analyze both the charts, so I give you the glimpse of it. First of all, this is the male chart. Okay, this is the male chart and this is the female chart. Now when we go through the compatibility, I give you that a little bit story that this woman is running, is fighting her divorce case. And now what was the reason, we going to elaborate in upcoming time. And now just go through this chart of a boy who's unmarried. So she is married and she is not divorced yet. And when we go through all the chart, when I go through, because this is my client, okay, so this person is my client. So this person fallen for this woman who's already living separately from her husband. And now when this boy comes to me, and when I look up all the charts through numerology then and astrology, so we will realize one thing, that this boy loves her, but sometimes when they met in a situation which was not favorable. But when you talk about, see, I tell you one thing in a very crystal clear manner, that people are very much into a lot of philosophical way of life which is totally unworthy, which totally do not have any point regarding to the reality. And when you talk about that moksha as well, if you are very much into that spiritualism and all the way around, moksha is all about the living in reality. If you know your conditions, that means you are in the moksha condition. But if you are in the wonderland, where someday something happens, so that you are not very close to kind of an spiritualism, moksha kind of thing. Okay, so over here what we see, that this boy is, I think, almost 28 years old, and this woman is like more than 30 but less than 35. Now what happened, when you go through the charts as well, when we basically started, I just noted down the 4 points which is very important. The first one is that the sexual element which creates trouble in their love life. Why I'm saying this, I will going to lament in upcoming time. And the other thing that I noted, that past divorce is still pending in the court, and it will pending in the court for a longer period of time. Because when we go through her chart, her dashas analysis, that we see that she is not going to have divorce very easily. She is demanding alimony, and there was a lot of issues that she is facing with her husband. So the court process is going to be not in favor. So we have to understand one thing in a very crystal clear manner, that divorce, it's not yet happened. Okay, and this boy is already in the wonderland. is already wanted to, you know what, is started, the love story started, is not even our concern. So this is not the topic that we have to go through it. And the one thing which is very much, we can see that this lady is a image conscious also. In the beginning, I tell you one thing why I'm saying that people are not living in reality. Now I give you the one thing, that image consciousness. Now when you met someone, so it's very easy. Nowadays it's very easy that you got many apps of relationship, whether it be marriage and all. It's very easy. We are not living in 1960, okay? We are living in 2026. We're just like one click away. You are just one click away for any conversation with anyone, whether it be belongs to India or to other countries, okay? So it's very easy. If someone gives you that kind of thing that, okay, like this is the purpose of life, there is some meaning. Can you imagine? If some bad, evil personality comes to your life and they just misuse you, not to use you. If you use someone in a vital way, see, you have to be very much depth when you talk about these kind of things. But if you're misusing someone and you left someone for no reason, and then you're saying that, okay, the person comes to gives you some lessons of life, come on. Like, there's no point, there's no valid and practical point over here. Of course, that person is going, who gives you the trouble, are you going to remember them? Why are you going to remember them? Forgive them. It totally depends upon your person to person nature. Now let's comes to another thing, that image consciousness. When this girl met this boy, because when they both met, everything is going to be very liberal. Because in the beginning, I already told you, is all about the wonderland and butterfly in the stomach. It's not something that which is very strange. It's very common thing. Okay, I already mentioned in a lot of videos of mine that because it's very hard, it takes a very deep knowledge of astrology and it's very depth analysis of anyone's chart. You cannot predict just from the one placement of it. Okay, whenever it's talk about the compatibility, it take a lot of informations and a lot of analytical approach, because a good man or a wise woman will also do the same thing that an evil man or a woman do. So how you bifurcate them? It's not very easy for anyone to bifurcate on the basis of one thing. Okay, so it always need a very deep research. Astrology is a subject that demands reasoning, that demands practical subjects, that practical approach. And it's never be like they're just going from the one placement, so it's never be like that, okay? So, and another thing is that the family pressure is also, you know what, we can see that. Now we are going towards another segment of these both the charts. Now, why I'm using in the initial, time in the video that physical intimacy has become a very prominent factor of their fighting and their separation. Why I'm saying this? Because when you go through this lady's chart, which over here, it's lacking physical intimacy frictions. And when we go through it, it's totally like that. I just give you the one more thing also in this chart, which is very important for everyone, that she got multiple desires, which relates to the sexuality only, but it's very hard for her to fulfill it. Now you need many more things to understand this level. If you got your IQ level very high, so you will understand that people are going to a lot of medical issues and they're taking a lot of sessions from the medical therapy just to improve their physical intimacy in their marriage, which is very important thing. But over here, you have to understand that the one thing, when she met her husband, so you know what, the desire that she got, it's actually different, and that's totally fine. But overall, she is not very much satisfied with her husband due to some societal pressure. You know what, because we live in a very conservative society where everyone is going to rule, everyone is going to be like your becoming mama, father, like everyone is like that. But we have to understand, when we go through, we are astrologers, we are not going to judge anyone. This is not our job. Our job is to, you know what, give a loyalty and give a very practical approach, and it's very crystal clear approach to our client. Now let's take an example from them. This lady got something cold blood. Now why I'm referring cold blood? Cold blood means when you talk about any relationship, happy intimacy is mandatory, because that's something which remains and which always a core foundation of that. A healthy intimacy is required. But when you talk about this personality of a woman, that clearly shows that lacking of regular, or not regular but unhealthy intimacy. So over there we can easily define by seeing everything, by seeing dashas, patterns, basic structures and everything. We realize one thing, that this woman is lot of frustration in herself. She is carrying lot of insecurities which linked up to frustration. And always remember, we are astrologers, we are going to link every small bit, because that plays a very pivotal role in our research factor. Whenever we go through this chart of a lady, and we comes to this chart of boy also, but whenever we go through this chart of a lady, we just going to understand that this lady is someone who's extra inquisitive, extra anxious, and someone who's not been able to process things very easily, and this links to something which called confusion in life. And when you amalgamate these two things, you will get an output that is, when the output comes, is not going to be good for sure. The outcome is going to be negative all the time, because can you imagine if someone who's anxious all the time, and that's links to something which is called confused mind, which like that situations is not turning in her will, and that's the outcome becomes very negative. Why I'm saying this outcome is becoming negative? Because we go through the dashas pattern, we go through the time that she's running in, because everything I already mentioned in the first thing, that doesn't matter that you start a business, you got some abilities, you got dimka, everything that you got, but you need a time to flourish yourself. You need a time that can enrich you with those minerals of prosperity. You have to understand this, the time is very important thing. The cosmos is very limited, okay, but still cosmos gives you the time, not to everyone, but to limited people. Because when you go through the 140 plus crore of population in India, you will realize that lot of people are starving, lot of people are not fulfilling their basic needs, but some people, only the few, it's like just in like 1 to 2% ratio, they acquire actually that wealth, that the huge, the behemoth wealth of this country. Why? Because the time is going to favor them, and their connections and their everything. So time is something which plays an important role. Over here we see, when we go through the chart, this woman is going to be got inferiority issues. Because why? Because this lady's time, and that you know what, the time of her life is also not very good. Because India is all about, you know what, a lot of part of India belongs to a lot of approaches which not gives that room to that individual, especially like females. They feel like that way, that they got some issues. But when you talk about divorce in the personal life, because being an astrologer, we have to demand reasoning, that what is the actual reason. We have to go through that every bit, because this is our job. Now when you talk about that healthy relationship with anyone, you have to be understand, when you talk about relationship, is always transparent, is always like equal sharing, is always like not sharing happy moments, but always stands in a very tumultuous time, which is very important in relationship. Because if you know some person who stand by you in your darkened time, in your hardest time, that gives you the best result of your life, because this person is truly something that stands for you in every stanzas of your life, which is very important for any healthy relationship. But when you talk about, when you amalgamate this kind of thing, this person got a family issues as well, because this person is also, you know, when he met this female, so everything is going to be very fine, because in the beginning I already told you, is in stomach in the butterfly. Alright, butterfly in the stomach, sorry. So over here everything is going to be like that. But when this boy turns to be more and more emotionally drained by the dashas pattern of his life, so he demanded that now is the right time, because he's going to turn 29 or 30. So he wanted to get like married, and he's wanted to get married with this girl. But you know what, the problem remains the same, that this person is not getting divorced. And we already mentioned in that period that you know what, still pending in the court. The divorce case is going to be pending, because the time that she wanted to clear the divorce, she wanted to win the divorce, but the time is very favorable. The time should be favorable in her way to get divorced and to have a happy life. But over here, when we talk about, when we amalgamate two charts and we go through the compatibility, we can easily see that family of this boy is not toxic. But I tell you one thing, we have to analyze the pressure itself. what is pressure, like a negative pressure, or some like a mediocre pressure, or some like heinous pressure, or some like good pressure also. So over here, when we analyze all the charts, this boy got the pressure from his family, but still is not that heinous or that bad, because his family is going to be like, okay son, if you want to marry this, we can, you know what, going to be support you in that way also. So this boy is lucky in that. But still, that lot of charts are like that only, that yeah, we can see that issues, but still is going to be minimal, which gives that very minimal repercussions to boys life. So when we talk about these things, we have to understand that when we go through the whole chart, now everything is going to be like time prediction only. Now when this boy is going to be emotionally, when he is running in an emotional time, is very emotional. He is when I met this boy, so you know what, I take 2 or 3 sessions, being like 7 month, I think 6th to 7th one back. After 2 or 3 sessions, he is like 70 to 80% is going to be, now he feels very good. But still we have to remember that he is running in that kind of thing, that kind of period, that he cannot control his thought. See, when you talk about the human think that they're going to control everything, but of course cosmos is very limited. Lot of people come, conquer, and they left. Nobody is going to remember them, right? So human tendency goes like that, that every time they evolve with new gadgets, so they thought like that way, that we are going to rule this world, or we are going to, but it's very hard. Because cosmos designs everything in a very beautiful way. I though consider very beautiful way, because cosmos is beautiful. For me it's a beautiful, but I don't know for rest of people, like, because it depends upon person to person. It's never be like for one person is going to be good, for another one is going to be heinous. Okay, so back to the topic. Now when we see the lacking of chemistry, it's not all about the physical chemistry, but somewhere we can see that there is some kind of an issue regarding to their communication level as well. In the beginning everything goes well, but after 2 or 3 months that chaos started. Now what chaos is started, that issue we can see from his chart. And when we compare this thing, then you have to understand 2 things in a very crystal clear manner, that over here we see that this boy is going to be adamant and create chaos in the beginning. I'm not saying that he is the one who created heinous issues in the relationship, but yeah, of course he got a habit of creating small ruckus. But it depends upon the other person, especially that partner. If your partner is going to be very okay, then everything is going to be fine. But over here, when you see the chart of this woman, you will understand that this person is already in a very tough scenario of life, is inbuilt. She is not the one who's going to take everything is a very liberal thing. For her, everything is very sensitive, is something that's create confusion. And can you imagine if someone is already in a habit of creating issues, and he is with someone who do not digest issue? That's called relationship issues. When we go through, because we need a lot of things to to even more, getting this analyzing, even like very minute analyzing, we have to understand one thing, that inquisitive insecurities is going to met this person in, like, he created chaos, he created fight, and he just double the fight. Now it's a deadliest combination. And when he pressurized, or not pressurized, but when he said to this woman that okay, we are going to marry, my parents is going to be like that they're asking, and this lady is going to draw back it. Why? Because the divorce is still pending and she remains confused. That's create trust issues in the relationship, and they spend 1 to 2 years together, and then they broke up. Now you have to understand that, because in the beginning we already said the physical intimacy is because the affection and attraction is lacking. So there is not even one chance to be like, now we already know this boy is running in a very very emotional tumultuous or emotional turmoil period, which for him to digest that this is no more is going to be very tough. But 2 to 3 session when he was my client, then 70 to 80% is actually he recovered from that. And afterwards because I always in touch with my clients, that I'm like happy to see their growth. And over here his growth now is like betterment, he's like that only. But over here now, when you shift the condition, this boy is like running in a very not very good period. But after some time, this lady is not that much, so this lady is not getting that much good time to get a divorce. But still she get, after 4 months, she get a time where she again gets someone who can like a friendship zone or something like that, to communicate with someone, strangers like that, relationship like that, but not to a serious relationship. Over here, why I'm saying not serious relationship, it's not something bad. In your mind, it's not something like that, okay, she's just chasing someone. No, she's also very good woman. He's also like that. We are not going to judge anyone, because there's nothing good and bad in astrology. There's nothing good and bad in real life as well. But you have to understand that it's in creating chaos, because her need is different and he's not going to fulfill it. And now he's also, checking, proposal for marriage. He's getting it because he's already 29 and getting family support. So he's like moving his life into this way. Over here, still chaos remain the same in her chart. Why we are talking about it now? Because he asked me one thing which is very common. Now it's not very strange, because being an astrologer is very common thing for me. When any people come to me and ask about their exes and everything, so I realize it that okay, so they are asking that how much they miss them, or how their life is going to be. So we have to understand one thing in a very crystal clear manner. I suggested him that you should focus on your life. She is getting someone, but still she is not getting that much good time period to recover from that, from her divorce thing, that she is not getting divorced in future. Still it takes a lot of good time. So we have to understand one thing, that this is something that you need to understand when these two souls coming together. You have to understand all the time that compatibility is very important thing. Without compatibility, there is nothing called business, there is nothing called school, there's nothing called college, there's nothing called life as well. If you wanted to have a tea with your partner, that should be more compatible in nature, then only you can enjoy the tea. I hope this video gives you a little bit glimpse of it. If you wanted to enroll my numerology course, you can ask me. The courses are going well, and I want you to learn very proper numerology. And I also have one course related to the tarot card reading as well. If you wanted to know more about it, you can message me. I already mentioned my number, and already you can DM me as well. So this is something that you have to be understand. And the course is going, because in this course we are going to give you the depth knowledge and the practical knowledge, which is very important. We are not going to give you something which is irrelevant in astrology. No, this is not the way. That nowadays astrology is becoming, I don't know for what business they are making it, to making fool, or to just giving a very fear mongering thing in the society for just to for the monetary terms. All right, everyone is making money, that's totally fine, but this is not the way to you inculcate a fear notion inside the public and then creating money just to sell their remedies. No, remedies doesn't work like that. So if you like it, then please follow this and like for more updates, and then comment also if like. Very easy. Thank you so much.